is an accomplished educationist with a strong academic background and over 20 years of experience in leading educational institutions. She possesses a master's degree in commerce and is a qualified cost accountant from the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. She has held key leadership positions, including 5 years as the Dean of Academics and school principal at prestigious institutions like Vidya Devi Jindal School, Hisar, Cambridge School, Noida, and Trinity International School, Pune. Her dedication to mentorship and fostering young talent earned her the Certificate of Recognition from Qualifications and Assessments International UK in 2016 for her exceptional guidance to young entrepreneurs at the school level in 2013. She was honored with the Teachers Award at the national level from the Bombay Stock Exchange for her noteworthy contributions to promoting financial literacy among school students. To further enhance her leadership skills, she attended the program on strategic leadership for schools in changing environment at IIM Ahmedabad, demonstrating her commitment to staying at the forefront of educational practices. Uh, she is known for her passion for education, and her ability to organize uh, and collaborate with professionals. Ma'am has gained recognition as a prominent mentor and team leader, known for her passion for education and her ability to organize curricula and collaborate with professionals. She has gained recognition as a prominent mentor and team leader. I welcome you, ma'am. I welcome you for the session.
So first of all, thank you so much, Dipali. And very good evening to Dr. A.K. Sharma sir and all the teachers, principals present on the platform. I request Sumita, please allow me to share my screen.
Yes, ma'am, you can share. You are allowed.
So once again, I wish to thank Dr. A.K. Sharma sir for giving me this opportunity to present my opinion, my views on this topic, diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And most important statement is how to prepare our classroom more responsive to the cultural diversity. Whenever such opportunities are given, so we must treat it as great opportunity to learn the topics, and it makes me so humble. Like whenever I research on any new topic, that on every topic you will find when you do a Google research, ample and extensive research has already been done. So first of all, let's understand the three important words: diversity, equity, and inclusivity. We live in heterogeneous societies. No society can be homogeneous in nature. It is the inherent nature of any society. That's why it should be respectfully acknowledged and celebrated by each of its members. The approach to acknowledge diversity as an assert and acknowledging as a plus point, it leads to inclusivity, which means that every person, inclusivity means that yes, including every person in the setup, in the community, in the society, with a viewpoint that yes, every person is bringing value, and that offers a level playing field to each member of the society. On top of inclusivity, it is important to ensure equity. And equity means understanding that each person has its own circumstances, is coming from different circumstances, and allocating resources or providing opportunities that are needed to reach an equal outcome as any other privileged member of the society belonging to the same community. Now, in order to ensure equity and inclusivity in our diverse classroom, colorful, diverse classroom, it is important to make our classroom culturally responsive. Our teaching methodologies should be culturally responsive. So before we understand what do we mean by culturally responsive teaching methodologies, first of all, let's understand what do we mean by culture. In a layman's language, we can say culture is a way of life. Our belief system, what we have inherited from the group, the community which we belong to, our day-to-day rituals, the language we speak, the attitude we have towards life, towards different segments of life, towards people, our taste and preferences, our food habits, other habits, faith and religion. Basically, culture gives us identity. Identity, it shapes our identity. And it is through the lens of the culture we understand and view our, whether as an adult or as a child. I wish to share my opinion on culture. Culture shapes our identity. It also gives us many biases. And it is the biases which, as a teacher, we need to be extremely careful when we are treating or when we are, handling children in a culturally diverse classroom. So let's understand what do you mean by, culturally responsive teaching. Culturally responsive teaching means using students' customs, characteristics, experiences, and perspectives, the way a person looks at the world or the different situation, as tools for better classroom instruction. The statement says, in a diverse classroom, it is the responsibility of the teacher, or in order to have a very positive culture in the classroom, it is important to ensure that the teacher, the instructor, is teaching the cultural diversity as an asset in order to ensure that the learning which is supposed to take place is happening in the light, in the context of, every child's, his or her own experience. So in this field, Geneva Gay in 2000, so she worked in it, and she has written one state, she has quoted in a book, Culturally Responsive Pedagogy. When academic knowledge and skills are situated within the lived experiences and frames of reference for students, they are more personally meaningful and have higher interest appeal and are learned more easily and thoroughly. We all know that the teaching or the learning environment should be meaningful and it should be relevant in a child's life. Then only a child will be able to construct some knowledge on the knowledge which is already existing in his mind or in her mind. That's why it is important to understand that diverse culture, custom, the society from where our children are coming, having sufficient knowledge about those culture, then only accordingly the teaching strategies a teacher can frame, which will result into more meaningful learning, which will stay with children. So very quickly, I would like to share with you the goals which I feel that yes, by the end of the session, we'll be able to accomplish. First of all, understanding what is cultural responsive teaching, understanding why is it important to be responsive in the classroom with cultural diversity, How do I, as a teacher, view this world as a bundle of culture? It is not only the children who are coming from diverse cultural background, even the teachers, we are also coming from diverse cultural background. So the lens which I use to look at the world, that is equally important. And how moving from a deficit-based system, which we'll be exploring later on, to asset-based pedagogy in a culturally diverse classroom will happen. This we'll see, and create a and how to create a safe and supportive environment and build strong relationships. Okay. So if we talk about culturally responsive teaching, what are the key characteristics of culturally responsive teaching? First of all, understanding that yes, I as a teacher, I as an educated mentor, and same goes for my mentees, my children, my students. They are coming from different cultural background, from diverse background. And the culture has shaped our identities. And identity means we already have some context, some contextual knowledge, some knowledge we already have. And on that knowledge base, we will construct the further knowledge. So as a teacher, first of all, I should be knowing that it is important to understand that how learners, they construct knowledge. So if I'm explaining them a concept of social science or any topic of history, as a history teacher, I should be knowing that some context is already existing in my learner's mind. Some knowledge is already existing. So the topic which I'm going to present, that too I'm understanding, from my own lens, from my own cultural background, which I'll be presenting in the class, that will be understood by different children in different way based on the culture they are coming from. Uh, the second characteristic is learning about students' lives. Yes, it is important to know that yes, what is the culture or what kind of a diversity we have, our children's different homes as well. Understanding about the parents, understanding about siblings, understanding about the culture in the family. It is important to know as a teacher, then only we'll be able to cater, to the different style of learning of our children. Third is being socio-culturally conscious. Fourth, very important, seeing cultural differences as assets, not as a problem to be addressed. Uh, Fifth is using diverse instruction strategies and advocating for all students, irrespective of the caste, creed, and the strata they are coming from. Then empowering and transformative. So cultural responsive teaching is empowering and transformative. It transforms the way students see themselves in terms of their personal efficacy. It means their understanding about their abilities, that how they can reach to the goals they wish to achieve, despite coming from different and diverse background. It is also transformative. It reveals that multiple versions of truth are valid and no single version is total and permanent. I would like to repeat this statement. A culturally responsive teaching method is transformative in nature as it reveals multiple versions of truth are valid and no single version is total and permanent. I'll share one example of one teacher. She shared one personal anecdote, and she said when she was very young, so one young boy joined his family, and the boy belonged to the same village. The parents, the same village where his parents they belong to. The boy was very poor. He hailed from a very poor family. So whenever she used to waste food, her mother used to say, "Don't waste food. Just look at this boy." His name was Adil. Just look at this boy. In Adil family, this food is they cannot afford this kind of a food. And as a result, she framed an opinion that Adil or people like him, they're coming from very poor family. That is the only reality such people they have. That is the only truth about them. Once she visited, her native place and native village along with her parents, she was quite amazed and pleasantly surprised to see that Adil's mother, oh yes, the condition was, very dire straight, but Adil's mother used to, make very beautiful pottery. So that moment she realized the truth is not that yes, they are very poor and that is the only reality they are living. The same family has very talented family members as well. Perhaps what they are lacking is an opportunity. So this is what we mean by when we say culturally responsive teaching is very transformative in nature because it reveals the multiple versions of truth. I would like to share one more example, I guess, which many of us we have discussed and we discuss, and that is our RT children. In fact, this nomenclature is also wrong. We call them as RT children. The right nomenclature is EWS, children belonging to economically weaker section. And most of the time, the version we have, in our mind about EWS, lack of resources. Yes, when it comes to use of foul language, it tends to be more in case of EWS category children as compared to the children coming from other families. In a culturally responsive teaching or in a classroom, which would like to ensure equity, will not end up in accepting the fact is since the children are likely to come. We cannot use the word they are coming. Okay. Yes, there's a high probability that they're coming from such families where they are deprived of a polished culture or exposure to polished language or more sensitive behavior. That's why it is acceptable for us that yes, if they are speaking foul language or if they are struggling, with understanding in knowledge of any domain or any field, it is acceptable. Equity means providing opportunity, allocating more resources, giving them more time so that they also have equal opportunity to reach to the outcome which the privileged counterpart has in the same classroom. If our classrooms are diverse in nature, so it's a boon in disguise for our learners and for us, for teachers. Ultimately, like in the first leg of my discussion, I mentioned no society is homogeneous in nature. It's not possible. We cannot have homogeneity in the society. We require different kind of services. We all are very diverse in our thinking, in our approach. We all are unique. That is the basic edifice of education system, that every child is unique. So having diversity is a boon in disguise. So yes, in order to make it boom and in order to, encash this boom, in a culture responsive education system, what is ensured? Number one, hold high expectation for all students' academic learning. As I just shared an example of EWS category children. Okay, even in fact, in some cases, we find there's a bias. Children who are coming from affluent business family, especially we teachers, we have this notion, if they are not very serious in studies, perhaps they are not required to. This is also a kind of bias which we have in our mind. As culturally responsive person, what we need to ensure, we need to set very high expectation for all students, irrespective of the strata the child belongs to, irrespective of the education level of parents or a family, irrespective of how affluent the family is, irrespective of what intelligence or the IQ level a child has. The starting point to ensure equity and inclusiveness is setting high expectation for all children. The second thing is such education system draws upon students' cultures to strengthen and sustain their cultural connection. A sensitive, culturally responsive system or a classroom or a mentor or a teacher will not make effort to bring at par the different culture, the different diversity, or the features of different diverse culture. In fact, an intelligent educator or intelligent mentor will ensure the plus point. Every culture has its own plus and minus. So the different culture which our children are carrying every day to our classroom, to our school portals, the plus point of every culture should be sustained. So let's talk about a child coming from economically weaker section of society. So if we feel, if I have this bias as a teacher that the child is deprived of resources at home, so I need to understand what strength that home, that family must be having. It is quite possible the children who are coming from very affluent family, nuclear family, parents having high pressure jobs might not be enjoying uh, a very congenial environment at home, whereas a child who's coming from not so economically privileged background might be enjoying a lot of coherence, a lot of harmony in the family. Same goes for a child who's coming from very affluent background, might not be having a strong desire or fire in his belly or in her belly to prove himself or herself. Okay, might be having very complacent attitude. Whereas a child who's coming from underprivileged background, he has this strong desire to prove himself, desire to be acknowledged in the society, desire to do good. That's why in a culturally responsive education system, the cultural connect between the diverse background are set. Third, values that students bring to the classroom as assets and uses these as resources for teaching and learning. The more diverse the culture in a classroom, higher the possibility that the children in that classroom will be able to look at a situation or look at a piece of knowledge or a fact from multiple perspectives, provided the right strategy, the right pedagogy or the teaching strategy is used by the teacher. If the class has got a very homogeneous culture, it becomes a liability rather than a set. It may become very easy to handle the class and to reach to an outcome which is very standardized outcome. But when it comes to creativity, when it comes to developing intellectual capacity and capability of children, more diverse the culture, better it is for the children, for the learners. That's why it says it values what students bring to the classrooms as assets and uses these assets as resources for teaching and learning. The fourth one, though it's a very complex statement, It says it adopts a critical stance. A culturally responsive education system adopts a critical stance towards socio-political structures and processes and supports students in developing the same. This statement is talking about, sustaining your own culture or sustaining the diverse culture which a school or which a classroom has. So in a diverse classroom, certainly there are many, many challenges. So let's see what are the common challenges and how these challenges can be faced by teachers. So the first challenge is different belief system, different values, different assumptions, dispositions, different biases and experiences. Especially when it comes to primary, we're not only dealing with children, we're also dealing with parents. So yes, these challenges of different beliefs and assumption and biases we generally experience in the approach of parents, because as far as children are concerned, they are very adaptable. I'm talking about children in primary. They are ready to adjust, they are ready to accommodate to the changing environment, and they're very open-minded, open to learn multiple perspectives in the class, which are shared in a classroom. So how this challenge can be met uh, while discussing, your subject knowledge or subject topics, explore what kind of belief system children they have, what they really value, what certain assumptions they make, what biases they have. Allow them to share their experiences through dialogue and discussion. This will make you understand, this will make a teacher understands the diversity and the nature of diversity her or his classroom has. Discuss controversial topics. This is more relevant for middle school and for high school. Discuss controversial topics to increase their comfort level and skill set when facilitating such conversations in their own context. As teachers, many of us, we generally shy away discussing topic which may result into some kind of a controversy. But since we are talking about heterogeneous society, it is important that our children from an early age, they should learn how to deal and how to handle with controversial topic. One important thing which they must learn whenever there is a controversial topic, certainly the first thing which is required is ample knowledge, ample facts before sharing your opinion or sharing your viewpoint. So yes, a teacher must decide the contour within which the discussion, a healthy, a polished discussion must take place. At the same time, ensuring once a while, such discussion should happen. Learn inclusive pedagogical strategies and consider how to best incorporate these strategies in their environment. We will be discussing, few such pedagogical strategies later on in our session. Engage in dialogue on how to foster an inclusive climate and culture with students. In my opinion, dialogue is the best way to understand a person and to influence the thinking, the opinion of the other person. So dialogue, discussion, this can be a very useful pedagogy, can be very useful teaching methodology, especially in middle school and in in senior classes and secondary classes. Right. As I shared with you earlier, it is not only the culture of the children whom we are teaching or with whom we are learning. It is also the culture which a teacher carries. That also plays an equally important role. So it is said that we see the world from the lens of our experiences. That is a fundamental part of human condition. We all have lens through which we see, and we value and evaluate our students through that lens only. So let's understand what is our lens. I give you this task. Just take a minute List down names of 5 people you feel closest to or you feel very close besides your family members. Write down 5 names. I am also writing 5 names. If you wish to share, you can share on the chat box if you wish to. Hope you, those who are doing this exercise, so you must have noted down 5 people's name. Take another 2 minutes or a minute. Write down their age, gender, their education qualification, caste, and religion. So after doing this exercise, just check. Are you noticing any kind of pattern? The pattern is your lens. Anybody would like to share in the chat box any pattern you have seen? We are not very much open in sharing, with people the lens or our opinion or what really influences us. I cannot see even a single reply. I won't mind sharing, my pattern. I noted down 5 names. Number one pattern is all are males. Number two, they are belonging to different age group. Number three, all are highly educated. So what is my lens? How do I understand my lens? Perhaps I am coming from a culture where male is considered more powerful or a problem solver. I guess rather than powerful, problem solver is a better. I feel a problem can be solved by a person who's highly educated. Right. As far as religion is concerned, perhaps I'm not even aware of their religion. I'm not very much sure about the caste and religion. So my lens is that yes, education is one lens, gender is one lens. Age is not any lens for me, and same goes for caste and religion. What does it tell about me? When I'm evaluating and when I'm trying to understand people, I feel the people who are less educated might not be able to give solution or might not be able to solve problem, or they are less intelligent, right? So between male and female, when it comes to problem solving, so yes, I will use my lens. I may choose, there's a high probability that I would like to go for a male member. Is it true or is it right? Whether my opinion is right? It is not about right or wrong. It is about the lens which I have. So it is said that yes, we teach who we are. When we are teaching our children, we are teaching our children from our own prejudices, from our own biases we have. When I do not know myself, I cannot know who my students are. I will see them through a glass, darkly in the shadows of my own unexamined life. And when I cannot see them clearly, I cannot teach them well. First time when I read this statement, one very important word, which I felt, yes, is very important. I felt that unexamined life. We never reflect on the way we think when we go to a classroom or when we are evaluating or understanding our children or our students. So this is, one advice, in fact, one suggestion I would like to give in order to ensure culturally responsive, classroom. First of all, understand what culture I am carrying, what kind of biases that culture has created in my life, right? And to what extent these biases are okay, and what are the biases which should be eliminated altogether ASAP. So let's read some statements and let's see what do the following statements have in common. I'm reading few statements. In few sentences, instead of color, I would like to use the word strata. If I am honest, I do not expect students with disabilities to demonstrate proficiency on standardized assessments. Students who are learning English likely need remedial courses. Another statement, I don't expect my poorest students to have books to read at home. It is common to see students from single family homes struggling in school. 2, 3 more statements, students who are not motivated in school won't be very successful. On the face of it, it appears that these statements are facts. But the statement which I've just mentioned, that these statements are fact, is also colored by my own bias. Okay. The statements which I just read is coming from the approach which is known as deficit-based belief system, wherein as a teacher, I feel the students, they have some deficiency. Students, this deficiency or such deficiencies need to be fixed. And students' weaknesses or needs are result of her or his family origin. Here I'm talking about the bias or certain lenses which a teacher has. So in a culturally responsive education system or in a culturally responsive classroom, deficit-based belief system has no place. In fact, this belief system should be replaced with what we call it as asset-based pedagogy, wherein it is considered the more diverse the culture is, irrespective of the reason for this diversity, whether a child is a special child, disability, economic strata, or any caste, religion, creed, intelligence, IQ level, EQ level. Somebody is, a lone wolf, doesn't believe in playing with team. Yes, some people, some children are very collaborative in approach, irrespective of the temperament. If we can value each different trait of diverse culture of our classroom as an asset, so that results into an asset-based or asset-based pedagogy addressing the diverse culture. Okay. So as a teacher, what we need to do, first of all, in order to protect the diversity and in order to ensure inclusivity and equity, create a very safe and supportive environment and build strong, authentic relationship with children. I'm sorry, I have not written this word strong, authentic. Authentic is very important. Children are very sensitive and very intelligent. They can understand whether the care or the understanding which a teacher is trying to show or the teacher is practicing, is it authentic or not? So, as teachers, we need to demonstrate that we care, that each and every child is cared for, and we value our children, their lives, their culture, and their academic success. Demonstrate that you care for students as culturally located individuals. Whenever get opportunity, attend events outside of school in which students are involved, such as extracurricular activities outside the school as well. It is important to know what kind of life our children they are leading, when they are not in school or when they are not sitting in a formal setup. Ensure that the environment is very welcoming and safe in the class so that the students they feel comfortable to take risk. Whenever children they feel, yes, people may make mockery, or the classmates may make mockery, or a teacher may make mockery of the culture from which he or she is coming from. So it results in risk aversion. A child who has studied in many schools has experienced diverse kind of culture, has experienced different geographical location, tends to be a risk taker. Because yes, subconsciously, the mind has understood, has adjusted to variety of, to, various circumstances. And as a result, the child is ready to take up the next challenge. Now give feedback to children very carefully, to diverse students, as there is a possibility of mistrust about motivation for the feedback. Be careful not to use vernacular phrases, humor, or sarcasm in ways that might be misunderstood. This is more true for the children who are coming from the culture which is not the dominant culture in the classroom or in the school. They feel they are already very vulnerable, and thus they are more sensitive. So even with this slightest, uh, in case a teacher makes, maybe in a very on a light note, if she makes fun of any culture, so that may hurt their feelings. Encourage our discursive curriculum. It is not necessary that yes, we need to have a very structured curriculum, because when we have very tightly structured curriculum, it leaves no room, for open discussions, no room for flexibility, no room for understanding in and appreciating each other's viewpoint. That's why a discursive curriculum and enable students to be self-determined. So employ an interactive teaching style, soliciting discussion, trust your students, the decision they take, and give up some of your control in inviting student input into learning process. It is very important in order to respect the opinion of children, which is also coming from the different cultural background, that yes, the opinion should get a voice, should get some space in the classroom. So that's why it is important that time and again not to control the class, decide a contour of discussion, but not to completely control the discussion of the classroom. Ensure students experience power sharing relationships and interdependence with their peers and teachers, which is very much possible through collaborative teaching pedagogies. Focus student work on inquiry, active learning, problem solving, and dialogue. How inquiry-based learning can be really helpful. Children, in order to appreciate, each other's culture, they must understand the logic behind that culture, the logic behind the certain features or certain traits of a culture. So that comes from inquiry-based approach. If children, they have scientific temper, if their way of learning is inquiry-based, then subtly, for every fact which they come across, they would like to explore, yes, what is the reason behind it? Okay, why it happens in a particular community in that way? There has to be a logic, right? So what was the logic? Perhaps, that point of time when that particular ritual was formed. Okay, so inquiry-based approach really helps in appreciating the diversity in culture. Use cooperative learning strategies. Certainly, children will be able to appreciate the presence of each other and also the diversity, which research overwhelmingly supports as an optimal strategy for all cultural groups. It is important to have, great connect with families in order to have, culturally responsive education system. As I mentioned earlier, also, especially in case of prime living children, because till the time there's a parity in understanding and in order to appreciate, the culture of different parents, not only by the teacher, also by the parents themselves. It is important to have a good connect with families, with our students' family. Connect with communities is also important for teachers. Learn about the community in which we are teaching, the people that live and work there, and the potential expertise and resources that are present. Design projects that draw upon community members' expertise or that learn about the communities that impact upon students' lives. Make use of venues outside of the classroom as a source of opportunity for community connections. I'm sure uh, all schools, they have community outreach program. So the idea of community outreach is not only, to provide help to the people or to the organization or NGOs which lack resources, maybe in terms of money or some other resources, can be time or expertise. It is also a great opportunity for the teachers and for the children belonging to a dominant, culture to understand the various cultures which are existing in the same society, especially in the vicinity of the school, right? Okay. So thank you so much for patient listening. Uh, I would like to recommend this book for the summer break. This book is by Zaretta Hammond, Culturally Responsive Teaching and the Brain. Especially the teachers who are from psychology background, they will thoroughly enjoy this book, right? If you have any question, please feel free to ask questions. Okay, there are a few questions in the chat box. Okay, Anuki Singh. She has mentioned, in fact, we should be selecting culturally
Sorry,
relevant.
excuse me, ma'am. Greetings, ma'am.
Uh,
I am actually logged into through my nephew's, actually niece's mobile. My name is Aradhna. Ma'am,
yes,
I had some incident in my class where it was like an inquiry base and it was related to somewhat, I was actually teaching Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. It's a class 10th, ma'am, the third chapter in the prose. And while I was teaching, I asked children just to have an introductory or the diagnostic assessment. I asked them, what are the others, the national leaders you come across, and what had been their actual contribution in the field where they just sacrificed their life. Children actually, when they started giving, most of the name that turned up was Chandrasekhar Azad. uh, it was actually extremist's name, not the pessimist like Mahatma Gandhi or something like that. And suddenly there was an argument wherein the children started propagating the ideas which they were not supposed to be doing at that time. And it led to a kind of, an atmosphere in the class where they were more supporting the people, like the extremists prevalent at that time who fought for India's freedom. And sometimes when these inquiry based approach, we actually involve with a different mindset, ma'am. As you told that we should be moving from deficit to the asset based, but suddenly it just took a kind of a turn that was not welcomed. So, ma'am, how to deal with that particular thing as a teacher?
okay. So, Aradhana, first of all, thank you so much for putting this question. First of all, I'm looking at the issue which you have just shared with me from a very different angle. In my class, if children, if they are supporting more violent way of, bringing some kind of a revolution as compared to the non-violent way, I hope you have understood your question correctly.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes,
guess
ma'am.
yes, this is what the children were supporting. Okay. They were more pro to violent way of bringing changes. Okay, not necessarily. It means arms and ammunition, more violent or more aggressive way of bringing changes, isn't it? So is it right or wrong? Number one, it is Aradhana's lens, which says that yes, every change can be brought uh, in a subtle manner. This is my opinion. Okay, Aradhana? This is how I'm viewing, the
Yes,
example which you have just shared. So
um,
this
I,
is
yes,
Aradhana's lens, okay, which is viewing the situation in this way, that children, they are discussing about more aggressive way of bringing the changes, whereas a change or revolution can be done in a more subtle manner, right? Okay, though the change will be slow, but yes, it can be done. Here again, I'm using certain personal biases, right? As a teacher, I'm understanding from where my children are coming from. Okay. It is talking about, when we say culture, I use the word habits. Food is a habit. Conduct is a habit. Behavior is a habit. Okay. The kind of dialogue and discussion we have with our group. This group can be family. This group can be the place or the housing society where I stay. Okay. And the commonalities which I share, that creates a culture. It is giving me an insight about those students, right? Now, here we are talking about that if in their culture they are experiencing more aggression, what can be the possible reason? Perhaps one is their age, they are young. The kind of, the changes in hormone uh, happening in their body. So subtly, aggression is natural. This is how nature prepares us. Fine. Secondly, how I can use it as an asset. If this is the culture or this is the trait of culture which they have, how I can use it as an asset. They're eager. They're eager to bring some change. That's where they're supporting more aggression or perhaps in a direct way, the violent way of bringing changes. They are eager. They are ambitious, right? A class which does not have, children who are coming from culture dominated by ambition, don't you feel that class will lack ambition or lack that fire? This is my lens. Anuradha, are you getting it?
yes,
Anuradha,
ma'am.
still there?
Uh, yes, ma'am. I'm there actually, and ma'am, probably it's been like that sometimes when we allow them to question the rituals and ceremonies of some other culture. Uh, what you said, it was actually the bang on response statement you right now made, ma'am. I was listening to you.
I
You
would
said that
like to share one more fact here. Repeatedly, I'm saying this is my opinion. Okay, perhaps it includes my bias as well. When Dipali she read out, I guess in the last 6, 7 years, I've been to 5 or 6 places, right? Coming from a military background, I could easily and very promptly appreciate the lens which the children they were using in your example. This is my bias. Are you getting this point? Okay. So perhaps the kind of experiences which I have gone through in my life, the way I have been raised, I am a more risk taker, right? Which is It doesn't mean that being a risk taker is a good trait, is always a good trait, right? But how to use this cultural feature of a person or of a group in a class in a positive way. Then certainly, if we wish to do, some constructive work, if we wish to work, we have to do something. So who are the people who are going to take the initiative? Who are the people who are going to push the work? The people who are more proactive. Initiators are the ones who are ready to take risk as well. The people who are risk averse, they will avoid taking initiative because they will be spending a lot of time in calculating the risk involved. Fine. Okay. So yes, the children who have very, strong sentiment for aggression or violence, right? How to channelize their thought. So that is the art, which we teacher we need to exercise. Anuradha, now you speak.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, what you were saying exactly, there was a statement made by you while you were just actually mentoring us in this particular session. You told us that it's because the kind of the culture they're hailing from, and it just impact their mindset. Well, as you said, it's a job. Rather, I should not consider it as a job of a teacher, but it's an onus on our shoulder that always remain 24 into 7 while at the school or at the home. In fact, I call because of my limited knowledge in history, being an English teacher, I called the history teacher in my class. I made her ask her, requested her to tell them more about this extremists and pessimists. It somehow enhanced my knowledge, and there how beautifully just she just presented the whole thing. What are the positive impact of the extremists, what were the positive impacts of the that both of their efforts actually led India to gain its freedom. And the class remains silent for a while. And in addition to it, it just enhanced my knowledge also, ma'am. So I took it in a different way. As the very first session, I still remember multidisciplinary approach. So keeping that in mind, I called the social science teacher to reflect more upon the idea.
কাকু গিরিরাজের প্রথম দোকানটার থেকে তিনি 5,500 সিটের সোফাটা লিভ করি আর গিরিরাজের দ্বিতীয় দোকানটার থেকে 9,500-10,000 টাকা ড্রেসিং টেবিল লিভ করি
Okay, so is there any other question?
It seems there are no more questions now.
Okay, so I wish to thank all of you and Dr. Anil Sharma sir, and I wish you all a very happy summer vacation. So spend good quality time with your family. Thank you.
Ma'am, this was the last session on diversity, equity, and inclusion, culturally responsive teaching. That is for faculty development program. Yours was the last session. And it said all good things do come to an end to begin again. So, as you said, your holidays are there now. Enjoy your holidays, spend quality time. So it's, a sort of a new beginning for all of us. Now, I think Sharma sir would like to say something.
Namaste.
Sir is there, yes.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. Wonderful, culturally responsive teaching. I mean, no one can better explain than you, because you have seen many cultures during a very short time you have already mentioned. And this topic is of utmost importance for me, because in our organization, parental organization, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan, I have to move from one place to other place and see several type of culture. I have seen the Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, then coming to UP, MP, Gujarat. So many states we have seen. So this is a wonderful topic, and you have done a real justice with this, because this particular teaching, culturally responsive teaching, is a beautiful approach that acknowledge and that value the cultural background, experiences, and also the perspective of the students. It not only incorporate the students' cultural reference, tradition, language into the curriculum, but also make more relevant to them. And this is the approach that promotes inclusivity, equity, and academic success finally for the students. So beautifully you have explained the topic. Thank you very much for joining us. You have, I think it is the beautiful ending of a good course. So thank you, ma'am. Preeti ma'am, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker, or the first speaker, in fact, was Surabhi Saxena. And she has taken the fostering collaboration and communication skills using AI. In fact, I was thinking that who is the person to whom should I given this topic? वो होता है ना कि ये घर में है और बाहर ढिंडोरा पीट रहे घर में चीज है. So in that I was thinking, मुझे था कोई है, but who is that? So suddenly, I mean, the Sobi has contacted me and sir, I mean, the ma'am has told something, and I could then rejoin and recollect. So it was the beautiful person giving wonderful talk about fostering collaboration and communication skills using AI. And needless to say that you have done justice with the topic. And thank you very much for accepting an invitation and making our program a good success. Thank you, Survi.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you so much.
So I also thank all our team members. And our team members are very interesting. The one is, you are looking to her, Dipali Pradhan. It is really, she is the Pradhan. So she is conducting the program. Dipali, you deserve all these praise for the success of the program. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And second is Sumita Khare. You could not see her. She is behind the screen. Sumita Khare.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Sumita Khare. And now her turn is not over because she has to prepare certificates for you also.
Yes,
So,
definitely, sir.
Her work is very important, and she had done it wonderfully well. So, in fact, it was the program of Team Jaipur, Munshi Mark program, because Jaipur people has contributed to this program in a very befitting manner. And I'm grateful to Preeti Sangwan ma'am and for the kind help you have given to us for this conduction of this program. And the program is a super hit. For the first time, I thought that I should purchase a connection with more than 100 people, because every time one or other people, one or second man was out. So it was the super hit program, and that it was overcrowded. Now I am looking to that it is having OD 88. They have thought that now AK Sharma is speaking, so it is of no use. So we should go. So thank you very much. God bless you all. And the many other people who are associated with us also deserve special thanks. My teachers, the most important person are the teachers from different schools. They have spared their time to join us, their families who were waiting for their precious time, and they have, in fact, I have encroached upon their time. So I thank them also. They deserve special thanks. And thank you all for joining us. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank
in the end,
you
I
so much,
invite
sir.
Shrimati Neelam Bharadwaj from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Vidyashram, Pratap Nagar for formally extending the vote of thanks on behalf of all the participants. Neelam ma'am.
Namaskar, ma'am. Am I audible? Am I
Yes, ma'am.
audible, ma'am? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Namaskar, everyone. I'm deeply honored to deliver the vote of thanks for today's enriching sessions on fostering collaboration and communication skills using AI, and on diversity, equity, and inclusion through culturally responsive teaching. First and foremost, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speakers and facilitators, Srimati Surbi Saxena ma'am and Srimati Preeti Sangwan ma'am. Ma'am, your insights and expertise have provided us with valuable knowledge and practical strategies that we can implement in our professional practices. Your dedication to advancing collaboration, communication, and inclusivity is truly inspiring. I would also like to express my deepest gratitude to our mentor, Sri A.K. Sharma sir. Without his unwavering support, this event would not have been possible. The opportunity he has provided us motivated us to strive for excellence in our respective roles. The meticulous planning and the seamless execution are truly commendable. Sir, your commitment to promoting continuous learning and professional development has always inspired us. A special thanks to all the participants who joined us today. Your active engagement and enthusiasm throughout the sessions made them more interactive and enriching. I hope that you found the sessions insightful and that you will take away valuable knowledge and skills to apply in your own context. In conclusion, let us remember that fostering collaboration, communication, and inclusivity is an ongoing journey. Let's continue to learn, grow, and work together to create environments that are equitable, inclusive, and conducive to everyone's success. Thank you once again to everyone who contributed to making these sessions a success. Have a great day. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. A humble request to all the participants. Please convey my regards and thanks to your principal for all the help that she is extending to you. Thank you very much.